So hi guys, today we are going to be talking to Armun, asking him about why 90% of Africans that are going to study abroad are Nigerians, and also asking him why Nigerians are leaving their country to find a better education. So Armun, why are 90% of Africans abroad Nigerians?
Alright, so this is a very funny question, and the first thing that comes to your head when this question is asked is because Nigeria has a very big population. I think it's about 200 million people right now. But that is not just the reason. If you say 200 million people, if you go to the United States of America, they have a population of about 300 million people. So why don't you find American students all over the world? So one of the main reasons why Nigerians always leave the country to find better education abroad is because our educational system has collapsed completely. When I mean completely, I have colleagues in Nigeria. I used to be a student in Nigerian university. My colleagues that I left in third year still have not graduated, and I am in fourth year in Russia now. That means they have been struggling with strike after strike, university closed down after university closed down. And so the university system in Nigeria now is totally underfunded, it's completely abandoned by the government, and nobody is doing anything about it to improve the education of Nigeria. So when parents have the opportunity of sending their children outside, they do it, especially to countries that are cheap. For example, if you're studying in Ukraine, you only have to pay about $4,000 a year, whereas if you're studying in the US, some of their cheapest universities for international students are about $33,000. So that is the reason why parents send their children outside. It's not because they want to flex or they want to it's because they want their children to have the best education. Parents make a lot of sacrifices to send their children abroad. For example, in 2015, some parents were paying about 150 naira to $1. But then if your child had a 6-year course, by 2020 you are paying about 700 naira to $1. So that is a significant increase, and you need to make every sacrifice possible for your children to be out there comfortable learning.
Second, this is actually an interesting one. Why are Nigerians, or why do Nigerians misbehave abroad? Like, why do we misbehave?
I understand the context of what you're asking, but asking it like that means Nigerians are just a bunch of criminals that misbehave anywhere they find themselves. No, that is completely not true. Okay. I understand there are cases that Nigerians studying abroad, always tend to misbehave. They traffic drugs. They are found in violent crimes, committing violent crimes and all of that. I've seen a video of a Nigerian harassing a Gambian on the train and comparing the size of Gambia to Nigeria. So, but basically, Nigerians are a very chaotic people. If you go to places like Lagos, if you go to places like Ojuelegba, if you go to places like Port Harcourt, there is no order in those cities. Basically, the Nigerian is used to chaos. The Nigerian doesn't stand in a bus stop to pick up a bus. The Nigerian hails a moving bus. Hey! The bus stops and he gets into it, and exactly. So the Nigerian is used to committing crimes and getting away with it. Nigerians don't even get taxed. The country is just full of lawlessness. So when Nigerians come out, they think they're still in Nigeria and they continue to be lawless. At some point, about I think a significant percentage of our youths were involved in cultist activities. Okay, so I went to a Nigerian secondary school. I thank God I was saved. But a high percentage of my classmates were cultists. Alright, so basically the Nigerian cultists are a group of young people that just decide to get themselves into gangs and perform rituals and occultic activities, kill themselves and commit petty crimes. And they don't even do it for money, they do it for identity and protection and all of that. So for a long time this was a trend in Nigeria. But I would have said fortunately, but it has been unfortunate because that promoted from cultism to fraudulent activities now, what we call the Yahoo Boys. Yahoo Boys are just fraudsters and they have given Nigeria a very bad name. I don't think there's anybody on this planet that has not heard about the Nigerian prince scandal, the Nigerian prince scam, where someone images you. Exactly. So it's very bad. So the Nigerian has lived in chaos for a very long time. He has lived in a place where he does a lot of illegal things without being prosecuted for it. And then when he goes out to other country, he thinks that he still has the same level of impunity. With the same level of impunity, he goes against the law, he's rebellious, and then of course other countries don't tolerate as much as our country does. That is the reason why Nigerians get prosecuted for very petty crimes in other countries.
Okay, next question. Are Nigerians the smartest students? I think I know the answer to that.
Actually, I would say no. Because what do you mean by smart? I consider someone who is a smart person who is doing well in class.
Okay, I understand.
So I don't say Nigerians, I'm not going to say Nigerians don't do well in class. Some Nigerians do well in class. But if you look at the education systems in Africa, the education system of Nigeria can be compared to the education system of South Africa or Zimbabwe or a lot of that. when we first came here in first year, a lot of our colleagues from Zimbabwe and South Africa were doing better in the science subject like maths and physics and chemistry, way better than us. And we were just, victims of our educational system. So the Nigerian educational system is not as good as it's supposed to be, starting from the secondary school level all the way to the universities. That's the reason why. When you say smart, are you talking about street smart?
Yeah, it's broad. Yeah, perspective, everything.
Yeah, when you say street smart, the Nigerian is a very street smart person, and that is not always a very good thing. Because the Nigerian proves to be smart in places where he's not supposed to prove to be smart. And that turns disadvantageous for him. He tries to ride over other people. He tries to, because he has the mentality that he's smarter than every other person in the room. He tries to, manipulate them. He tries to ride over them. He tries to lie to them. Which is not a very good thing. I am a Nigerian, and of course, I'm not going to be painting the Nigerian image black. But these are all things we see on a daily. The Nigerian is very street smart, and he's a very hardworking person. Nigerians work hard because, of course, when they leave Nigeria and find greener pastures or whatever you call greener pastures in other countries. For example, in Nigeria, you work in a construction site, you get paid just about 1,500 naira a day. You work the same hours, the same job in Europe, you get paid about 3,000 rubles, which is maybe about 30,000 naira. So when a Nigerian sees that level of promotion, he works very hard because he knows that there's something to gain at the end of the day.
Okay, so how much do Nigerians actually spend to school abroad or their tuition?
Yeah, it depends. In that country, you need to be. There are two categories of people. You you either need to be a thief or you need to be the one that is stolen from. The thieves are the ones that are considered steal from public funds. For example, we have a lot of politicians. We have a lot of people that are holding positions in the government. And those people don't have problems with funding the naira even at 710 to $1. Averagely, Nigerians usually go to China, they go to countries like Russia, they go to countries like Ukraine because they are cheap. That is where the Nigerian middle class person will send his child to. But then the children of politicians and the children of businessmen, successful businessmen, go to places like America, they go to places like Canada, they go to places like the United Kingdom. I've seen pictures where our first lady was celebrating his nephew who graduated in the UK, while the Nigerian universities were on strike in Nigeria. So so it depends. When you go to America, you're paying tuition fees of up to $50,000 a year, and it's not a joke. If you go to the UK, you're paying tuition fees of up to 20,000 that is pounds a year, which is a lot of money. Your sister is personally you have two sisters in Canada, so you understand that they're paying significantly more than what you are paying here now. So depends on which country you are going to, and it's very difficult to actually pay tuition fee from Nigeria now, because in 2014 to the backward years we used to have something called the student exchange rate, where people could pay tuition fees at a very good rate. For example, if the rates were 150, your parents could get the dollar at 140, which was very advantageous. But now nothing works in Nigeria now. If you want to pay your tuition fee, you go through the Form A. The Form A only works for people that are connected to the bank. So if you know someone at the bank, which is the corruption we have always been talking about, if you know someone at the bank, goes easy for you. If you don't know anybody, they tell you that the bank simply doesn't do that. The dollar is not even being sold to the change anymore. So dollar is it's not accessible to the common man. For you to access dollars in Nigeria, you need to have an affiliation with the current government. You need to be a thief. That is and it's very difficult. So right now, if you send your child, because the naira has depreciated with about, I think, 20-40% within the last 1 year alone, and you can't say it's because of the Ukrainian crisis. It has depreciated so much that right now we had the dollar at 500, and that was even bad, and now we're buying the dollar at 730 something, and every day it depreciates more. So it's scary for you to, it's no longer stable for parents to send their children outside to study.
Alright, so Armin, about the flight tickets, tickets to go home, what can you say about it, like for Nigerians?
Well, Nigeria used to have a career that is an air career, but like every other thing that happens in Nigeria, it went to limbo, it went to doom. Right now there are foreign companies that are operating in Nigeria. But because they cannot, repatriate their money back to their countries, they have decided to pull out. Countries like, Air Dubai, I don't know which Emirates. Yeah, Emirates pulled out of the country recently, so you can't have Emirates flights to Nigeria anymore. because they earn their money in naira, and when it's time to get dollars, even for a big corporation like Emirates, they don't have access to forex, that is foreign exchange in Nigeria. They can't change from naira to dollar where they can take it back to their countries. So a lot of countries are pulling out of the country now. A lot of companies are pulling out of the countries now, and that is the reason why tickets are very expensive now, really expensive. Traveling to Nigeria now, and traveling from Nigeria is very difficult. You see tickets that used to be about $1,000 now selling at $2,200. You see tickets that used to sell about $2,000 selling sometimes about $5,000. So it's a very difficult thing. The prices have doubled.
Okay, final question. The Nigerian passport. What can you say about it? Where can you go with it?
The Nigerian passport is very weak. It's one of the weakest passports in the world. I am saying I'm not proud of it. If you travel out with an American passport, with a Japanese passport, even with the Gambian passport, you can be able to travel to other countries. I know recently Malaysia granted Gambia, that is Gambia, a country in West Africa, granted Gambia the ability to travel visa free to their country. Russia granted Namibia the ability to travel visa free to Russia. But the Nigerian passport is very weak. A passport is strong when the diplomatic relations of a country are strong. For example, if a country is valued, then the passport will be strong. But nobody values Nigerians. Nigerians have something called influx traveling. Influx traveling is once the visa requirements for a particular country are reduced for Nigerians, then Nigerians influx to that country. If you go to Moscow right now, the highest population of foreigners is, after, of course, Asians, they are Nigerians. They just stay there and, they travel to these countries and inconvenience these countries. The reason why xenophobic attacks are happening against Nigerians in South Africa is because Nigerians we have about 2-3 million Nigerians in South Africa, and they take over people's jobs. Like I said, Nigerians are ambitious people. When they go to these countries, they take over the jobs, they work, they climb up the ladder. Exactly, and then of course the people in that country are going to get uncomfortable. So our passports are very weak. You can't travel on vacation even to the Caribbean countries. I once wanted to travel for a summer to the Dominican Republic to see a friend of mine that I met online, but it was not possible. It was not possible because my passport cannot allow me to travel to Dominican unless I have to go get a visa. Alright, so basically, that is the reason why about 90% of Nigerians leave the country. We decided to make this video a discussion for you guys. And as for you guys that are true followers, if you came here for the first time, then of course, there was a video. But our channel has been hacked by a Russian hacker. Unfortunately. So we're struggling to take them out. But anytime we think we have succeeded, they get back into the system. They basically use our channel to subscribe to random channels and watch random videos and comment on random videos. So any day that you see us, you don't see us anymore, just know that that hacker successfully won. For those of you that are advising us to change the password, and we have changed the password about a lot of times, and we have done everything possible, but basically we just can't be able. We haven't just been able to change to take out the hacker. So that was it for today's video. Thanks to Marashi for interviewing it. Thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe to the channel for more